Yes, hello. It's Monday, July 21st, 2025, and I'm checking in on the box office to update our fantasy box office league. There's been some shakeups in the standings, and there's tons of stuff. There's tons of movie news to go over. Superman is still at number one, and this was the first overall pick in our league. This was picked by Captain Hot Dog. It made $57.3 million in its second week for a $235 million total. So it looks like this pick is paying off very well for Captain Hot Dog. And it has been a banner year for Warner Brothers, that storied studio led by Yakko, Wacko, and Dot over in their water tower. They've had $1.32 billion that their movies have made domestically. A Minecraft movie, Sinners, Superman, F1 the movie, which they're distributing for Apple, Final Destination's Bloodlines, Mickey 17. So yeah, good big old year for Warner Brothers, and I think we all know who we can credit that to. And that is, of course, David Zaslav, Zaz, the guy who's revitalized the American movie industry. He just loves the magic of the movies. No, I'm just kidding, of course. He sucks shit. All movie CEOs suck shit. Let's just go with all CEOs. They're all goblins. They're all ghouls. They need to be taxed out of existence individually, and their companies broken up into little itty bitty parts so we can have an actual creative economy. But that's beside the point. His job isn't even to make movies. I bet he's even mad that his movies are making money because his job is to set Warner Brothers up to get sold and bought by probably Universal. And I would be really surprised if Universal doesn't buy Warner Brothers in the next 2 to 3, let's go with 5 years, and just create this unholy behemoth. But hey, the Warner Brothers and Universal Harry Potter synergy will be off the charts. They own the movies and the theme park rights. How about that? Anyway, Superman was number one at the box office with a great word of mouth. It's made $235 million total, and Captain Hot Dog chastised me for not including some historical comparisons. Say, here's how Man of Steel, for example, did in 2013 when it was 2 weeks into its run. And I was thinking about Man of Steel. It was interesting. I was there in 2013. I was even more obsessively following like the movie blogs, reading the comment section on IO9 back then. But I had forgotten this. I watched the Man of Steel trailer again, and the cult of Zachary Snyder had not really fully matured. Like, people knew who he was, and his name is mentioned in the credits. This also wasn't presented as the beginning of a new cinematic universe. Instead, it was very much riding the Christopher Nolan as a producer of this movie. And The Dark Knight Rises was an enormous movie in 2012, and they're hoping you'll watch the trailer and be like, oh, this is Christopher Nolan's new movie. And it looks like a Christopher Nolan movie. Yeah, he did Batman, now he's doing Superman. So Man of Steel in America made $291 million total over its run back in 2013. It opened to $128 million, and in its second weekend, by week 2, it had made $210 million. And so that's about $25 million less than Superman is having right now. But of course, things are not the same as they were in 2013. So let's pull out the old inflation calculator and see what Man of Steel would have made today if it had sold the same number of tickets. Let's see. So $210 million in 2013, that is equivalent to about $290 million today. That's what the inflation says. So it would have been making more money than the new Superman, but that doesn't tell the whole story because, of course, the theatrical exhibition business is not as healthy as it was in 2013. In fact, Americans are poorer than they were in 2013. Americans were poorer in 2013 than they were in 2003, and they get poorer every decade after every decade, and the world burns and everything is rotten and going to hell. We need a Superman to come and save us. And he did. And people love this movie. Everyone loves this movie. This movie's going to do great, as has done great, will continue to do great because everyone loves it so much. Everyone. Universal applause. Except for me. I didn't like it. Which is really a bummer because I really love James Gunn movies. And I like Superman. I like Superman a lot. People will say Superman's boring because he's invulnerable. And I say, no, that's what's interesting about him. But I feel like James Gunn's approach was not, I don't know. It didn't work for me, and I don't have a very cogent explanation as to what wasn't working for me, I would just say, I don't know. Not much about the movie worked for me. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't really like the performances. Ultimately, I feel like maybe it was just a bad fit for James Gunn to take on this material, because if you look at his Guardians of the Galaxy movies and his Suicide Squad movie, they are about misfits and anti-heroes, and, you know, maybe even bad people. And this is Superman, the man with the heart of gold, and maybe it's just a bad fit. But, you know, I hear from other people that they connected to his treatment of Superman, whereas I didn't. So I don't know what to say. It's just, and, you know, there's other movies like the Batman, Matt Reeves's Batman movie, which I didn't like when I saw it in theaters, but then I watched it again, you know, 2 years later and really, really appreciated it more. Although I would say when I saw the Batman in theaters, so much more about it worked for me than what has worked for me about this Superman movie. I don't know. No real like defense for not liking the movie other than it just didn't work for me. And I, again, return to James Gunn maybe being a bad fit for the material. And his take on Superman just not doing it for me, but obviously, who cares? It's doing it for so many other people. So what else has happened in the world of film, of cinema? Well, Jurassic World Rebirth was number 2 for the second weekend in a row, $23.4 million for a $276 million total. This was the draft pick of Drooby Dooby's movies. But in third place, we had a big old bomb with I Know What You Did Last Summer, the remake / reboot / requel of the old movie. Opened at number 3, very disappointing. $13 million, although the budget was only $18 million for this thing. This was drafted by Patrick Perot, and I thought this was going to do better. Maybe I'm just running in circles where I Know What You Did Last Summer is a big deal, but to the greater world, it is not. I really like this quote from Scott Mendelson's Substack. If you like box office, you should subscribe to Scott Mendelson's Substack, The Outside Scoop, where he said, quote, "For $18 million, remember the budget of the movie was $18 million. For $18 million, you can make a Tarot or a Hard Eyes and hope for the best. Reviving franchises that weren't that successful in the first place rarely, if ever, works. Prioritizing R-rated legacy sequels of YA skewing slasher movies now aimed at nostalgic geezers like me is one big reason why kids don't go to the movies as much as they used to." End quote. He had also explained, like, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the first movie was kind of a fluke hit, riding the waves of Scream, but it was a good try to ride the waves of the new Scream. Yeah. But they'll be okay. They're doing fine. Number 4, the Smurfs. No, I'm sorry, just Smurfs opened at number 4 to $11 million. This was the draft pick of Spooky Tea, $11 million. It was not good. It's not good, folks, for the Smurfs. But here's a number I came across that blew my fucking mind. The Smurfs in 2011, the first time they came to the big screen, at least this century, the Smurfs 2011 made $564 million worldwide. Oh my God, it played like a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. That is nuts. That is insane. It is one of these box office figures you come across and you have to do a double take. But it was diminishing returns for that series. So they went to the well again, and it did not work. Number 5, F1, the movie, just continues to race along. $9.6 million in its fourth week for $154 million total. 2 load-bearing beams. That's me. Well, this was my first round draft pick. Number 6 was How to Train Your Dragon. In its 6th week, it had $5.3 million. $251 million total to Cinematic Joshua. This is very good for Universal and DreamWorks and for this movie, but you kind of thought maybe it'd be even bigger. Especially when compared to Lilo and Stitch. And especially when you take into account how multi-generational this franchise is, how much love there is for this franchise. But still, they're doing great. They're doing great. Number 7, debuting in the theaters this weekend was Eddington by Ari Aster. His follow-up to Beau is Afraid, one of my absolute favorite movies, the movie that most represents what it feels like to be alive and the existential terror of being alive in the 2020s. Not doing good, but it wasn't expected to do good. $4.3 million in its first week. This was drafted by Neophyte Reviews. 8th place, Pixar's Elio continues to not do good. $2 million, $69 million. That's not nice in its 5th week. This is for Cinematic Joshua. This was his pick. Okay, ninth place, Lilo and Stitch. $1.5 million for $418 million total. This was a draft pick of Neophyte Reviews. Superman's made it interesting. If Superman can leg out, maybe it can overtake Lilo and Stitch. I don't know. We shall see. And in 10th place, 28 years later, for Jen Walks Into Walls. In its fifth week, it added $1.3 million for a $69 million total. So let's update the standings. Neophyte Reviews remains firmly entrenched in first place with $459 million. Second place is Joshua, Cinematic Joshua, with $335 million. Third place, Drooby Dooby's Movies with $300 million. Followed closely by Jen Walks Into Walls in fourth place with $284 million. But rising up the ranks fast is Captain Hot Dog in fifth place with $240 million. In sixth place, Load-Bearing Beam. Seventh place, Smash Trivia John. Eighth place, Screen Time Coda. Ninth place, Patrick Perot. 10th place, Spooky Tea. And we have a big one next week, folks. A big giant movie opens up that is sure to shake up our game. And I'm talking, of course, about Oh Hi. Ever since I heard of this movie, the only thing I can say wherever I go, oh, hi, oh, hi. I don't know anything about this movie. I just like saying that title. Oh, I'm seeing here Fantastic Four, The First Steps. No, sorry, The Fantastic Four First Steps is also opening, and that figures to be a big movie. And we'll see what happens. I can't wait to talk about everything that went down at the movie theater in a week. Thank you.